My name is Victor Jatau. I'm a poet. I'm also a playwright. I'm a teacher. I'm a scholar. I love thinking. I love writing poetry, and also I am the chairman Association of Nigerian Authors, Plateau State, and also the team lead of Coalition of Plateau Literary Societies, organizers of Plateau International Literary Festival. Yes, I love all of them, but specifically, I love poetry and poetry than play. I have published 2 plays, but I enjoy poetry a lot. So yeah, for the prose, yes, I'm not really a prose person, but I love reading prose. But I write a lot of poetry and drama as well. I don't have a specific poetry I love writing. Anyone that comes, I write. I feel okay. Let me just express myself. I wouldn't mind what type of poetry I want to write, basically. So I don't have a specific type of poetry. I love writing. I like once the idea comes, I write. Well, I feel poetry should. I believe poetry is an art that should invoke the deepest thoughts or flow of thoughts in human beings. Because I see poetry as releasing the deepest, the inner senses of every mankind, of every society. So when I write poetry, I feel I'm just expressing like my spirit. I'm bringing my inner spirit, expressing my inner spirit out. Because poetry, many believe that it is the most difficult genre of literature, which, well, for them. But so when you write poetry, you are actually communicating with the spirit, because the meaning in poems are not really at the surface level. You have to go deep and deeper. So going deep and deeper in the traditional African context is connecting with the spirit, communing with the spirit, using the letters and the words, the lines and the verse and the stanzas to commune with the spirit. So when I feel so talking about the spirit of our society, the spirit of our community, poetry gives me the leverage to express my inner self and also tell the society, or try to make the society think in such a manner that is expected of it to actually think or to function. Wow, it's been long since while I was in secondary school. So actually to say this is the accumulative years that I have been writing, I'll find it difficult. But it's more than 10 years I have been writing, I've been publishing. They come from everywhere, sometimes, even in dreams, sometimes when I sleep, I put pen and paper beside my phone. Sometimes when you are sleeping, you're about to take a nap, an idea will just trickle, then you pick and write. So to say this is the specific way the ideas come, or this is the specific location or kind of ambience or kind of situation that makes ideas to come, no. Anywhere, even when in the moment of loss, ideas can spring up in joyous moment, happy moment, sad moment, gloomy moment, disastrous moment. So I don't really have a specific way of kind of springing or generating ideas. All I know that anywhere ideas can be given birth to. Well, for me, in terms of theme, I see myself focusing more on nationalism and social issues. When you talk of corruption, when you talk about governance, you talk about justice, you talk about religion that promotes unity, togetherness, and cohesion. So I see myself delving more into those themes than the romantic aspect of poetry or basically. So these are the themes that I find myself delving more into them, or try to write much more under these themes. Yes, the most, writing itself is difficult. So writing itself is difficult. So sometimes it's the starting. Because at some point you would have to wrestle with ideas in your mind over and over, days, months, months. You have to wrestle with those ideas. So actually, it's starting, and also the discipline for consistency when you begin to write. Sometimes we get bored. Sometimes we think, is this idea really worth it? Is this okay? Let me wait for a kind of polished idea before I could begin to put pen to paper. But so it's actually difficult to start. At some point, it's also actually difficult to sustain the momentum when you begin to write as well. Yeah, for a writer, it is a writer. For me, I strongly advocate that a writer should possess multiple skills. Skills that will amplify his voice, skills that will make his writing so pronounced, skills that will make his writing known. Because without your writing, without your voice being known through your writing, what is the essence of writing? I cannot write and keep it in my own shelf. If I actually want to affect generation, if I want to empower generation or a certain generation, I must have a way of amplifying my voice. So I subscribe to the belief that a writer should not just adopt a one-liner skill, should have a multiple skill that would actually amplify his voice, make his writing known, make his writing recognized and appreciated. Actually, though, art is not for art's sake. I so much subscribe. Art should be for the betterment and good of our society, communities, and individuals per se. So I so much subscribe, not to one-liner, but multiple, in such a way that everything you are doing would be appreciated, would be seen, and will be felt, and can be touched, and can be reached out. Reading for a writer is like you are a tailor, but you don't know how to cut the yard. So how can you sew? What style? So for me, reading, you cannot rule away reading. When you are a writer, and you must first of all be a reader before you could be a writer, because reading helps you with the materials you need to have your writing amplified. So if you don't read, how can you have a polished idea? If you don't read, how can you get empowered to be able to express yourself? So reading is not just a kind of escape road out of ignorance, but it's also an empowerment tool for a writer, for a community. So any community that does not have readers is a community that is backward, because readers would first of all shape the philosophies of that community, shape the thinking of that community, using or taking advantage of other ideas they have learned or they have gleaned from other writing. So reading is the first step to becoming a good writer. When you don't read, you have no business writing. That's my strongest belief.
I agree with you.
Well, I would encourage readers, writers to join reading communities. For me, I can tell you how it has shaped my idea of writing. It has also helped me to create good networks of veterans, of good writers, those that we are looking up to. So I would encourage you to join writing or reading communities, just like the Association of Nigerian Authors, or get some mentors and read. Please, you have to read. If you don't read, you have no business writing. And when you don't read, you will be bereft of ideas in order to polish or to make your writing so great. So please get to join reading or literary communities that would help you to make your writing known and to make your writing meaningful, because it is one thing to write, it is another thing to make writing meaningful. That's so much of my belief in me. So please, I encourage you to read and to write. And that will make you and will set you on a pedestrian that yourself you cannot actually think of it. But when you begin, you wouldn't know where you would stop. Okay, the Book of People is a collection of poems. It's a multidimensional poem. You find poems on social issues. You find poems of religion. You find poems of on nationalism, whereby we need to be true Nigerians to make Nigeria progress. The problem with Nigeria is not Nigeria. The problem with Nigeria is Nigerians. The day we begin to understand that we are first of all our brother's keepers, we are first of all above political divides, we are first of all above religious divides, we are first of all above ethnicity and other things that divide us, then we would be able to set ourselves on the right pedestrian of sustainable development. So Book of People is saying, okay, for every one of us living on this planet, we are like a book. This planet is a book. And our lives, the way we live our lives, is a chapter in each of the book that we are part of. So when you read, when you see your life, it's actually a book. So this collection of poems is about the people, how the people need to be, behave, and to contribute to social development.